Hey, I'm Randy and I'm the Cheap Audio Man. Here at the Cheap Audio Man, we don't feel like hi-fi equipment, speakers, amps, DACs, turntables, AV receivers, power conditioners should cost more than fully funding your expedition to go capture the chupacabra on film and document the whole thing, because the deal with Sasquatch didn't quite work out. And this doesn't. It is the SMSL DA-9. It's a balanced speaker amplifier with Bluetooth. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about the SMSL DA-9. Today's sponsor is Suzanne's Pocket Knives. You'd be amazed at how many times you need a pocket knife, so always keep one of Suzanne's in your pocket. It's a knife for men. I don't know, that wasn't a very good one. Okay, the SMSL DA-9. I have experience with the DA-8, and Shenzhen Audio, the nice folks over there, oh, there we go, sent me the DA-9 to take a look at. So here's the DA-8. I had a heck of a time saying this model name. As you can tell, they have a different knob and a much different screen, okay? And this one didn't have any Bluetooth on it. All right, so let's talk about some specs. The DA-9 is $250. Just kidding, $250. All right, the DA-8 was and is actually can still be found for $170. The DA-8, I could never say that on the first video. I can't say it now. The DA-8 has lower power. It was like 50 watts into 4 ohms and 40 watts into 8 ohms. This one's basically double that. 90 watts into 4 ohms and I believe 50 watts into 8 ohms. And actually this has 150 watt into 2 ohm. So it's actually 2 ohm stable. All right. This has the Japanese, hold on, I gotta get this right, NJW 1194 volume control chip, and apparently that's a very good chip. It's got 2 Infineon, German Infineon amplifier chips. I thought I found which chip it was, and then for whatever reason I was looking on it last night and today and I couldn't find it, but it looked to me to be like the same chip that was in the SA300. Instead there's 2 of them instead of 1 of them. On the front is a very nice display. That was one of the gripes that I had about the DA-8 was the display, but this one is very nice. It's colorful and you can see what's going on. This comes with the standard SMSL remote control. Not anything fancy here, but you get to do everything you need to do with it. Turn up volume, mute it, go through all the inputs, and select the EQ settings, which there's 8 of them, and select the tone controls. And there's even a soft clipping thing on here that so you don't fry your speakers if you're listening real loud. Around back here you have the balanced inputs over here, and then you also have RCAs, so this will take unbalanced. Right here you have a subwoofer out, guess what, woo, and then your speakers, and then it's got an internal power supply, little Bluetooth antenna, and that Bluetooth is Bluetooth 5.0 and aptX. You have 8 EQ modes, which includes direct, which is like when you don't have any EQ, tone, SBD, which is quite nice, bass, super bass, rock, soft, and clear. I only heard a big difference with the SBD, and then the bass boost, I could obviously hear a difference. I heard a lot of treble roll off. I didn't quite hear a ton of difference between clear and soft, or tone, really. I'm sure there's more differences in there, and I just need to spend more time with it. But I spent a lot of time with this thing. So I landed on SBD. That's when I felt this thing really came alive and didn't sound like a Class D anymore. This thing still, even in direct mode, is pretty good. When you use the EQ, you can't use the tone control. So it's not like you can put on an EQ and then go in and even fine adjust it a little bit more. It's either EQ or it's tone controls. For sources, I use the Denafreps Aries 2 balanced DAC along with the SMSL M300 balanced DAC. They both sounded great. Aries sounded really, really good. The SMSL sounded really, really good, but the Aries is pretty awesome. I also ran a test where I put the X Duo MT604 balanced headphone amp in between the source, the DAC, and the amp, and added a little bit of bigness, broadness, deepness, tube wonderment into the mix, and it worked just great. Okay, sound-wise, I think this thing is outstanding if you use the EQ. If you don't use the EQ, this starts to sound like a typical Class D, which is a little bit flat. Maybe some people would consider boring, but it's still clean. It's still very clear. And I definitely heard a difference when using balanced versus the single-ended. And that difference was clarity and instrument separation, and maybe a bit of soundstage and imaging improvements. Not really imaging, but soundstage improvements. Speakers that I used on this, and here's where it got really interesting, sorry. I almost said Polk. They're not Polk, they're Klipsch RP500M. And I generally can't listen to that speaker on Class D amps. Not on the SMSL DA-9. It sounded great in the SBD mode. Even direct, it was still listenable. And that's where I started to get real excited, because I generally can't listen to that speaker with Class D amplifiers. Also listen to the CSS Crichtons, also listen to the GR Research XLS Encores. Did wonderful. Now the Crichtons with this amp, very forgiving, so I could get away with listening in direct mode with the Crichtons. Encores, it was okay in direct mode, but again, there's EQs in here for a reason, and the SBD, which is SMSL's patented EQ, is very, very good. It doesn't sound, I don't know, offensive in any way to me. It just sounds great. So, against my better judgment, we're going to find out what Christopher Walken has to say about the SMSL DA-9. This amplifier is really good. I enjoy it when I listen to my music. Do I recommend this product? Absolutely. $250 if you have balanced equipment. If you don't have balanced equipment, but if you're thinking about maybe getting balanced stuff in the future, yeah, take a hard look at this. It's got a great screen, got a great volume knob, it's got Bluetooth. You could destroy a soundbar with this thing if you have the proper DAC. If you have a balanced DAC, you probably want to have a balanced amp. Why would you have a balanced DAC if you didn't have a balanced amp? I like it. I like it a lot. One of my favorite Class Ds. The IEMA A807 is very good, no EQ settings. One of my favorite Class Ds, but I could get the SMSL DA-9 to sound very similar, if not the same, as the IEMA with the SBD setting. Plus, I gained the instrument separation as well as some detailed nuances, awesomeness with the DA-9. I like it. Compared to the DA-8, I think it's an improvement on every level. This thing could sound okay, didn't quite have the power, or not didn't quite, it didn't have nearly as much power as the DA-9. No Bluetooth. The volume knob on this one I really did not like. So the volume knob on the DA-9's very good, very nice. $250, kind of a no-brainer. You can start putting, if you're looking at this, you can take that money that you're going to spend on an amp and put it towards a really good DAC like the Denafreps Aries 2. Okay? If you want to support the channel, you can sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Every Sunday night we have Patreon-only Zooms. We get 20 or 30 people in there, talk about audio, and there's a bunch of experience, so you get to learn a lot. Also, we have patron-only content. Also, we have a patron-only Facebook group, kind of. Also, Amazon Music. You can sign up for it in the description. Click on the link. You get 3 months for free. I get a couple of dollars. You can also use the links. Now, this is not in stock except in China. So you can use the Amazon link, which I would recommend doing. Go through Shenzhen Audio because that's one of the world's largest SMSL distributors. Go through Shenzhen Audio. It's going to get here sometime in July, probably, if you place the order today. I would say it's well worth it, though. So, don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu. Binge listen through your new SMSL DA-9 Christopher Walken improved. That'd be funny if Christopher Walken was working on amps. Christopher Walken approved amplifiers, and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.